Hi everyone, my name is Adam.
And I'm Zane, and this is A to Z, where we cover any topic from A to Z.
Thanks for joining us today on our sixth stream. Currently,
Six stream.
Zane is not feeling too well. Neither am I. Hence why my voice sounds completely awkward.
Mm.
So if I am misunderstood for any reason, I apologize in advance. However, today we will be talking about Frontier, especially with the new set releasing, and also what seems to be a little bit of a decline in popularity over the past couple weeks.
So yeah, we're gonna jump right in, and so what I think, I don't know. So new formats, eh, they have an interest because they come up at a certain time when there's either a lull in existing formats or when the existing formats are in a boring or stale place. So if you look at when Frontier is really booming and really was thriving, it was thriving when it was when it was when Standard was stale, Modern was really set, and the new set wasn't coming out for a little while. So early January, and now you see a new set's come out. There's a new draft environment that people are playing. There's a new standard that is super diverse, and then there's modern, which is like,
Diverse.
and then there's modern, which is like find a deck and it's probably playable, and you might win some matches if you get lucky. So
Now that's an important thing, especially with modern, is how much of it is really set only in the basis of luck.
a huge amount, I think. Like
Like for some reason, I mean, and this kind of goes into Frontier as well, which I'm trying to stay relatively on topic without going off on too many
yes,
tangents.
yes,
But it always seems like whenever I was playing modern, and I've been off of it for a little bit now, um, it was almost as if you could pick up a deck, you could play through a league, and the variance was so high that I could be playing something like Blue Black Fairies or Cheerios or um, or basically anything, and still go 3-2-4-1, maybe get a 5-0 here or there in a friendly league, and then
right.
in the competitive side, I'd play something like Infect, which I'm very versed in, or I'd
Right.
be playing Affinity, which I'm terrible at, but I still like to play,
Mm-hmm.
or even Jund or something along those lines, where you go 2-3 because just
You
variance.
hit whatever. It's weird. So lately I've been like, I I would love to talk about frontier leagues, but like they don't exist or whatever. And then there's that thing. But so modern, I've been playing Affinity lately, just Affinity, and there was one league I played against Green Red Scapeshift 4 times, and I was like, well, I'm going to 1-3 this league. Like I just when it's like red green scape shift, red green scape shift, red green scape shift, and I was like, all right, well, can't win this matchup. Like, but then you're like, oh, I rolled a dice and I got a 5-0 after that, because it's like, well, I didn't hit it red green shape shift, like, and I hit something else. It's just like you could just go one way or you go the other, and it's just like, well, maybe it's great, maybe it's awful, and it's just like I felt that a lot more lately. It's just like been like, hey, let me roll the dice. It's like it doesn't matter how I play. Let me just roll the dice. And maybe that's just a discouraged thought pattern, which I think it is. But like, it's a frustrating thing when you're trying to play lots of Magic.
It is interesting though that you brought up Frontier Leagues and then not being available on MTGO yet, or at least not for the time being. Um, if it were though, would wouldn't it be the same thing?
Yeah, I'm not trying to make the point that it would be the same thing.
I mean, the variance is so high in Frontier, and this is going back to the color wheel, or the sorry, not the color wheel. Hi, the the archetype wheel,
Yeah,
and I realize that there are more than one archetype. I know that prison doesn't fit into control, but if you're talking about just on the very basic level of aggro control mid range,
right,
um,
right.
there are a lot of decks in Frontier that fall into those categories, i.e., Marvel. Marvel falls into, a combo style. There are plenty of aggro decks. You can, pick, you have your choice of humans, goblins, elves, etc. And then there are those control decks, which are, Grixis control. To some extent, there have been some blue-black controls floating around that I've seen.
Jeskai Black.
Yep, Jeskai Black's
Yeah.
been floating around. Rally in terms of combo as well. Like there are a lot of decks that fit into these different archetypes, and if there were a league, it doesn't seem like there would be one deck that would just completely dominate always.
I mean, a Tucker Red would probably be close, but you might get hated out. But
And that's a funny thing because a Tarka Red will be good, and a Tarka Red is always good, and yet it doesn't have any of the cards that people so often call to be banned.
no,
Like it doesn't run Dig Through Time, doesn't run Treasure Cruise,
no.
doesn't run anything that has anything to do with cheating and
Marvel
spells
doesn't
with
have
Marvel.
Emrakul, doesn't have Copter. It has nothing. It has like it's like nothing that like people are concerned about.
Like Collected Company, it doesn't even run.
Nope, nope.
It's just a good solid deck, and I think it's important to remember that with all the cards that are seemingly unfair in in Dig Through Time and in the Torrential Gearhulk Dig Through Time,
Rally
and Rally and etc. A Tarka Red is there and it keeps all of them in check because a Tarka Red always has a good game against those styles of decks.
Yeah.
At least in my experience. Like
Yeah.
I mean, we've played countless matches where you sit there and you're on a Tarka Red, and I'm just like,
I
ah,
rolled
well,
like five, and I like still.
it's like Marvel sometimes gets there, and
Yep.
Marvel only gets there if it goes like Emrakul off of Marvel into Emrakul off of Marvel, and you lose 2 turns.
Yeah.
It's the only way that actually works. I'm able to blow up your hand.
Yeah.
But I mean, on the flip side of that, a Tarka Red has issues versus certain kinds of combo decks, like elves, like
Oh yeah, yeah.
like elves, like a brawler style deck, which
Hmm.
is kind of like Infect because it's just too fast.
Right.
But if you want to keep going with that, then those decks have problems versus Marvel and control decks. So I
It's
think
gonna
it
be.
would
It's
be,
always full circle, and you
yeah.
see that in like standard currently, or you see that there's always going to be like, well, this deck is really good, but it beats everything except these decks, which beat the other decks, and then like there's always that circle of life, I would like to call it.
I honestly haven't seen Dig Through Time be completely broken yet,
No,
only
it is not.
because the format is fast enough where Dig Through Time doesn't do enough always.
It's a turn 5 format, and there are not enablers to get consistent dig through times before turn 5.
Yeah, you have fetch lands, but that's about, what are you gonna do? Run 12 fetch lands, then against the Tarka Red, you're dead on turn 4.
Right, right.
You
So
know,
like
like
you have to be able to interact with the turn 4, turn 5 deck, and still cast a dig through time early. Like that's 2 mana. That's even if it's 2 mana early, that's not going to do a ton.
I would like to talk about the impact of the blue expertise, though.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that. Um,
Uh, Everyone knows Baral's expertise, or at least should. If you don't, it's return 3 target artifacts and/or creatures to their owner's hand. You may cast a card with a converted mana cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. It costs 3 and 2 blue. Let me talk about Sultai Marvel with this for a second.
card's
Being
sweet.
able,
The card
being
is
able
so
to
tempo
cast,
oriented.
being able to bounce 3 things back to your opponent's hand, cast out Marvel, and often wheel it is nuts. Like, I mean, you're talking about this is the deck that would run Dig Through Time. This is the deck that runs a couple Torrential Gearhulks. This is the deck that runs, it still runs Emrakul, it actually runs more Ulamog than Emrakul overall. A lot of the interactions that you do have take place on your opponent's turn, or you want to exile just to have that big tempo swing. Bouncing something, then playing Emrakul, and just leaving them in hand often isn't enough to outright win the game. But bouncing 3 things back, and then taking out 2 of their lands, very good. So I think it does have a very big impact on Frontier, and not just clearly not just that one card, but in terms of Marvel, alone, it needs to be tested at the very least in a blue shell of Marvel.
Yeah, so like I think the thing with the card is if you saw the tempo swings, like if you guys were watching this past Wednesday, when Murph and I were playing against each other, the tempo swings of the blue expertise card were insane. Like it just was like, all right, bounce your 3 creatures, and then maybe try to marvel. But even the times when you didn't marvel, when it's just like bounce your 3 creatures, cast a glimmer, that's fine. That is fine card advantage. Like that's fine. Like I'll take that any day.
Or cast out a puzzle knot, gain 3 life, gain 3 energy, wheel Marvel. There's so many interactions with that, and it's not just that too. Like if you're running Crush, which I do, you're able to cast off of the activation of Marvel. So you activate Marvel, you cast, let's say, Brawl's Expertise. You cast out your second Marvel, you gain 2 energy. Maybe you get to wheel again. If you don't get to wheel again, then you just crush your tentacles for 5, get an 8/8, and bounce everything back to your hand to reload.
I think there was only one time last night that I beat you when you made an 8/8. I could be wrong though.
Um,
And I'm not even sure if I beat you then.
no, I was the only time that you beat me when I had the ability to make an 8/8 was when your board was too wide.
Okay, right.
So it wouldn't have mattered. I think I messaged you in game. I was like, yeah, I had the crush in hand. It didn't do enough.
Right. It's really sweet. I really like that type of thing. I just think that, like, going back to the popularity of Frontier, I think it's struggling right now, and I can't exactly pinpoint what the problem is, because the decks have actually become more diverse, and they've gotten so many new cards. The card pool has increased by such a significant amount because of a new set, because the new set impacts the card pool immensely because of how old the format is and how deep it is. It. What do you think is part of the problem?
I think there's a stigma to it. As well, if you're playing Frontier, you should just play Modern. And it kind of goes both ways. If you're playing Frontier, then you should just play Standard, because the card pool isn't deep enough yet
Right,
where
right.
where people really sit there and like, oh well, you have access to all of these cards. It's like, well, I could just be playing Standard. I might as well just play Standard anyway because there are actual tournaments firing for it. And not to say that there aren't tournaments firing. It's I'm talking about like GPs and actual tournament level play.
Oh, okay. Because I was about to say, well, I know a lot of viewers had the had Frontier Friday Night Magics instead of standard Friday Night Magics, just because of the accessibility, popularity, and the durability of the format.
Yeah, I
So it
mean
was
that's
huge.
FNM though. I'm not
Yeah,
I'm talking like PPTQs, PTQs, like actual.
like competitive REL events.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And a lot of people who play Magic who want to play competitively are not
right.
going to waste their time playing Frontier unless they're bored. And they will go and they'll say, okay, well, I'm going to be playing Standard. We also, when Frontier came out, or at least was very popular, we were kind of in that lull between
We were.
tournaments,
Yeah.
you know? So a lot of people who wanted to keep playing, wanted to play competitively, wanted to be creative, yeah, you might not have been able to find a bigger tournament near you.
Right.
So what do? You play Frontier because it's fun to brew, it's fun to play, and it keeps your mind active.
I think that was actually a big pull for me. Was for modern, I didn't feel like I was at a great place in it right then. I was kind of discouraged a little bit with modern.
Well, Affinity was kind of hated out for
Yeah, it was
a
heated
little
out for a
bit there.
while, and I wasn't liking burn as even though it was good, I wasn't liking the playstyle, and I didn't really didn't feel like competing at the in like a huge aspect, and also standard I wasn't really involved with because I didn't like the blue light spirits and Emrakul meta, so it was just like, well, what am I going to do now? I would like to play something because I love playing Magic. Well, I guess I'll do this Frontier thing, and it was really cool, and I really enjoyed it, and I still enjoy it. It's not like I enjoy it less. It's just right now there's actually like tournaments I can play PTQs in. Like I can play this weekend in standard PPTQ, or I can go to regionals this weekend with modern. It's just like, well, what can I do with this frontier format? Can't go.
Nothing.
No,
You
I
play with
can't.
friends, you
Yeah,
know?
and that's fine. It has its place.
And especially when you're moving into full-time streaming
Yeah.
as you have, like you need a way to support that and support yourself as well.
Right. Right.
And there are no big payouts for playing in frontier tournaments.
No. It's
You know, like you're not looking at if you get first, you can win 10 grand. You're looking at if you get first in a tournament, yeah, you might get a pat on the back and a fine, hey, good job.
yep. Yep.
And I mean, even the stuff that we do on Wednesday nights, yeah, we bring a bunch of people in, we talk about the format, we have a lot of fun, but you're not running Dexter leagues, you're not
Right.
going, infinite, you're not gaining that, 5, 10, $15 a day just grinding leagues.
Hmm.
You're essentially just having fun, which
Right.
isn't a bad thing at all. It's not to say that it's not worth it. It definitely
No.
is. But at the same time, if your goal is to be a professional Magic player, which I think a lot of players aspire to,
Hmm.
especially with the growing popularity of the game as a whole,
Right. Right.
I think it's hard to justify at times putting so much time, effort, and money into something that the returns are significantly less than what the returns would be for playing standard or for playing modern.
I mean, I think like the biggest thing right now is that people have Friday Night Magics for it, and they have side events at Channel Fireball GPs.
Yep.
That's what you're doing. Like you're playing in the side events 8-man fire. That
I mean, depending
probably
on
won't.
where you
That
are.
probably won't even fire. Who knows if they fire? I don't. I have no information on this. So,
Yeah, and neither do I. But
but like if you've ever been to an SGG event and been at a side event and tried to have some of them fire, some of them never fire all weekend. All weekend, they'll never fire.
yeah, I mean,
Just
and another point. Well, for paper it's harder because you actually have to have the paper cards,
right.
and a lot of people who play standard will recycle standard out into the
Mm-hmm.
new standard. So that's difficult because again, you're putting an investment into a format that isn't 100% a sure thing yet.
Right. Exactly. It's speculation. It's caused fluctuations in prices. It's caused
Yeah, but there's been pushback from that too.
right. Right.
There's been a lot of people who say this is terrible for the game of Magic because now all of these cards are spiking out of nowhere, and it makes it very difficult, especially standard cards.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Walking Ballista, I still think that price is not just buoyed by how great it is, but also it's buoyed because it's great in Frontier,
And it's
and
great in
people,
vintage, and
yeah.
it's like yeah, it's just a great card.
But the further down a card goes in terms of formats,
Yes.
the more its price will stick.
Well, look at Grimflare.
Exactly.
It's a 3 format all star.
Yep.
So
I mean,
well,
then
kind of
there.
all
Yeah.
star.
I mean, I
I
still
cut it
say,
from my green black deck in standard, so I don't know if it's really that much of an all star.
I think
But
it's too fair right now for
yeah,
standard.
yeah.
I don't think there's enough in standard right
And
now.
that's saying something because that card's not really fair.
Yeah, but
I don't
no,
know.
throw a become events on there, and
I don't want to give the impression that I hate Frontier and like we should just not play it anymore. But I I'm not loving it.
I am. I'm not loving where it is overall right now.
Okay.
I love the format. I do. Like, I love being able to put together a deck. I love being able to run Sultai Crush
Yeah.
Marvel thing,
Mm-hmm.
like, and actually, have a lot of fun with it. I like being able to have conversations with viewers and with other people and teammates and etc. and say, what do you think about this or what do you think about that? And it's great for that, and it's
Right.
great for me to as as a modern player going into standard. It's a good place for me to kind of fill that gap between thought style. You know,
Oh, like fair creature play.
yeah, like for me, modern was infect
Right.
heavily, very heavily infect, which, as many of you know, probably is not the most fair deck in the world.
No, it's
So
also very
going,
spell heavy and very.
yeah, so going from modern infect to, I think I ran green black in standard prior to Aether Revolt, green black delirium. Going from infect to green black delirium, really weird.
Very different.
Like so, I think that Frontier has actually helped me in my standard play more and
The-
realizing how sequencing matters a lot more in this type of format. Whereas modern, like I can get away with certain things in modern. Like if I missequence something, I generally won't get as punished in terms of mana
Really?
base. In terms of mana
Oh,
base,
okay.
like I've actually started like I started off when I started in standard, I'd be playing tap lands even though I knew I ran like 12 basics, the dual lands, instead of just playing a basic and saying, well, if I don't do this, then whatever, you know.
Right, right.
So there are a lot of sequencing differences that I experienced.
I feel like
Frontier helped me with that.
sequencing mana is way different.
Yeah. Well, because they're in standard at least there aren't any fetch lands and you don't have
Hmm.
shock lands. So you can't just be like, oops, I messed up, but I could just pay 2 life, you know?
I mean, yeah, that's still ultimately not like yeah, but like
I know it's not ultimately the greatest thing in the world,
no, I know.
but at the same time, with a deck like Infect, it doesn't really matter.
I understand. And
So
also like lately like playing like green black for instance, there are so many different lands and there's so much different sequencing. It's like do I leave with this evolving wilds or do I just like play out these other lands first? And then
yeah,
do I crack my evolving wilds now while I still have a chance or do I wait for a Tylish tracker? It's just like it's like there's so much like mana sequencing with the deck. It's like, all right, well, I need double black, but I also need double green, and I also need black green. Like, what is the right recipe? And like, it's not as you're right. It doesn't have shock lands. It doesn't have fetch lands. It's not like perfect mana that you get in modern or legacy or vintage. It's frontier and standard share that kind of troubled mana base. Or
I know I'm gonna get yelled at by someone about saying that it's not that big of a deal how you fetch in Modern.
yeah, yeah,
I know
you
it.
are.
I know it for a
I
fact,
was
and
gonna yell
I'm
at you,
ready.
but then I
And
was
I'm
like,
ready
eh.
for it. I'm ready for it. But what I basically mean is that yes, it always matters. Yes, it's
Yeah,
technically, there's always the technical proper play. At the same time, there's more room to recover off of it
yeah. You don't get as
than
punished.
instead, yeah, than in standard. I'm not talking about what the opponent does in response to it and how bad it is for you and getting punished that way. I'm talking about getting punished and not being able to cast your spells on time.
Yeah.
And in modern, there's a little more leniency to it
Well, yeah, yeah,
than in
definitely.
standard or frontier. So that's
If you miss sequence your lands in Frontier or Standard, you just can't cast your spells. You get behind the board and you lose.
yeah.
If you
And,
can't
and
cast your spells, if you miss sequence in Modern, you probably take 2 to 3 life, which may end up may make you lose. But the percentage of times that you do that, you're not going to lose. Versus the amount of times you just don't cast your spells.
yeah, that was my point.
Yeah, I understand your point.
So
I was trying to
hopefully,
specify.
hopefully people didn't throw their phones against the wall or throw their computer or anything like that when I said
Throw
that
their
it didn't matter.
computer. They were so angry at Murph that they threw their computer and said, "You know what? I'm done with it. I'm done with listening to this man. He knows nothing. Let me throw my computer against the wall because I don't even want to hear it anymore."
I would rather pay for a new computer than listen to this.
No more listening to this garbage. This listening to this garbage on my computer made my computer garbage.
And hopefully I didn't crash anybody's computer for that either. So I do apologize since we're not editing this apparently. Thanks, Z.
We need it in raw form as always. Raw.
That's perfectly fine. I'm sorry, I'm smiling way too much. This goes against my emote.
Yes, you're great emotes.
Hold on.
Does that mean you're happy, Murph?
Yeah, didn't you read it in chat?
Okay.
Yeah.
So guys, this is new emote. It's great. It's Murph please, and it has this little face. That's what it should say. That's what it should be. It should be Murph, please.
Like PLZ.
Yeah. Murph, please, and then that's that face.
Glad we're figuring this out on a podcast here.
Well, you know what? Things things can get figured out, and now we have a record of it, so we can't change it.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right, now here's a better question for you, since we just are
Yes.
having a
Different
heck of a
conversation.
time here.
We destroyed it. Yeah.
Should there be a ban list in Frontier?
You mean like dig through time and treasure cruise?
Marvel, Emrakul, Smuggler's Copter, all of these things have been thrown up, I believe, both of us in chat,
Okay.
especially during our Frontier tier.
I would
ones,
not be
but
opposed to a ban list in Frontier. The ban list that I would propose in Frontier would be very different than what other people would propose.
Fetchlands?
I wouldn't ban Fetchlands. I think it makes the format unique. I think that okay, so here's an argument for banning Fetchlands, and here's an argument against banning Fetchlands. If you want it to be a highly covered, easily covered paper Magic format that is high in popularity, that can create a good viewer experience, you'll ban Fetchlands. It has nothing to do with the actual playability of the format. I think the playability of the format with fetches is fine, but if you want it to be a viewable format that is nice for the commentators, nice for the viewers, you will ban Fetchlands. Fetchlands do not create a good viewer experience.
What, you don't like listening to 5 minutes of filler as we pile shuffle?
Yes, the pile shuffle. The pile shuffle in game is the greatest. I mean, like how each player shuffles the deck like for 5 minutes. You mean that? Yeah.
And you get the filler where you hear the commentators just try to say something about anything.
You're right.
Like,
oh,
ooh,
I wonder what land he's gonna fetch. Oh, he fetched that one. Oh, interesting. Like,
I really like the art on that. I've always liked the art on
yes. So like, it does not create a good experience. It takes time up from a round that you're playing Magic. It just like searching your library. That one problem that Magic has in coverage circumstance is searching your library, and Fetchlands make searching your library so much more common in a match. I understand, like, and that's my argument to ban them. My argument to not ban them is actually it does not destroy gameplay having Fetchlands in the format. I think it actually boosts gameplay having Fetchlands in the format. It makes the Delve spells actually playable. It also makes it so you can play 2-color decks more reliably.
3-color?
Or 3-color decks. 2-color is fine, but 3-color decks. Now, yes, you can play 4 to 5-color decks. Oh no. But you know what? If you're playing that deck, you're probably getting beat anyway. There are only a few 4-color decks that are actually worth it, in my opinion.
Now, the interesting thing that you said about that was that you said that Fetchlands make the Delve spells actually playable. Wouldn't that be an argument for banning them? Because you get like a 3-for-1.
So, the Delve spells, I don't believe that they're too powerful in the format. So the number of decks that actually run Treasure Cruise is like
2,
right? Is it like blue-red spells and
blue-red tutelage.
Blue-red tutelage? Is this the only 2 decks that run Treasure Cruise?
Jeskai tokens.
Oh, right. Jeskai tokens does.
Because it's
it,
like
though.
free,
right?
It's a free spell essentially.
Right. It's only really good in Jeskai tokens and blue-red spells.
Tutelage to some extent, but
yeah. It's not really that's only 3 decks it slots in. It doesn't really go in any other deck.
I mean, burn it would, right. It would, but you don't have bolt,
right?
You don't have spike,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have, the list goes on. But burn isn't a thing in Frontier only because you don't have the most powerful red burn spells
Right.
available to you. Like, you don't even have Shard Volley.
Right, because you have new
So
you have new magic design versus old magic design, which is less burn. It's more about the board and it's less about the players.
you get lightning strike.
Yeah,
So overall,
more about the
treasure
board, less about
cruises
the
with yeah,
players.
exactly. So treasure cruise and burn or even in a Tarka red splashing for
Well,
treasure cruise isn't that good.
even think about like that one deck that I played the one week, the Jeskai mid range flyer deck. You think, oh, that would be a deck. You know, it plays mid range. It has a bunch of creatures that will die. It has fetch lands. That should probably play Treasure Cruise, right? Zero Treasure Cruise. Why? It's too weak.
Yep. You're also running a higher percentage of lands in Frontier overall.
Right, you're running like 20 to 24,
Yeah.
26, 26 sometimes.
Back when Treasure Cruise Burn was a thing, you were
Yeah.
running, I think, 17 or 18 lands.
Yeah, all fetch lands.
Yeah, and like
You're running
12
like
fetch
one of
lands.
each shock and like,
12 fetch lands.
yeah.
That's exactly what it was. I used to play it. It was great. It
Yeah,
was fantastic.
that deck
And
was
then it got
amazing.
banned. And then I played Dredge, and then
That
it
deck
got
was too
banned.
good. So, I just think. But let's talk about dig through time then. We already talked about Treasure Cruise. We understand it's not too powerful. You can stay in the format. What about dig through time though? That's a little bit different. Now, number one, it's all right. It's only it actually costs one more blue to play most of the time, but it's an instant, right? Why is it so much more powerful than Treasure Cruise in the format?
Well, you get to dig 6 for 2, and not just 3 off the top. A. That's going to be always the argument for it.
But that's two cards select. That's only two cards versus three cards. Why wouldn't I want three cards over two?
No, because you get your choice of the 2.
Then why was Treasure Cruise more powerful in a Legacy or Vintage format?
Because all the cards in the deck are powerful.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I know the answers to these
I
questions.
know I know the answers. I swear I'm not as silly as I seem.
I know these answers as well, Murph. I am playing devil's advocate here.
I know. No, and I understand that. And by the way, it's 7.
Yeah, I know.
Not 6. It's
I know.
7. I said 6. I
know. Oh,
apologize.
did you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's six
No,
and
but
two blue. That's the cost.
yeah.
Yes.
No, but I mean, well, back in standard, when dragons was a thing, it
Hmm.
always played dig through time.
Right.
And a lot of people used to ask me the same thing: why dig through time and not treasure cruise? It's like, well, I'm only looking for specific things, especially in a control shell.
Hmm.
Um, so why would I not want 2 cards of my selection off the top 7 than
Three
3
random.
random cards that I have no control over overall? It's also at instant speed, so you can do it at the end of your turn. It's also at instant speed, so you can find a counter spell. It's also at instant speed, so yeah, it's an instant.
Yeah.
Everybody gets that.
Yeah.
The thing is with dig through time, it's not it's not that great in broken decks like Marvel because it puts them into your hand, which does nothing,
Right.
um, unless you're really looking for a counter spell. But you don't want to hit a counter spell off of Marvel anyway, so. Um, and overall, like, yeah, you might be able to find your Marvel, but then you
Right.
have to also cast said Marvel, and by that time, usually you're pretty toast.
I think the one deck it shines is Jeskai Black. It's like the deck for it.
Yeah, but that's really one of the very few pure control decks that have a lot of legs in this
Right.
form.
Right. I mean, well, because it plays Dig Through Time. It's a shell that can actually run Dig Through Time, Blue Gear Hulk, Flip Jace, millions of removal spells in the
Hogan's
creature
command.
format, and counter spells.
Yep.
That's the recipe. It also plays like Soulfire Grandmaster. That card's insane in a creature format.
Yeah, it still feels bad that there's no anger, but that's okay. There's Radiant Flames.
It's Radiant Flames. Have you ever gained 48 life off of Soulfire? I have.
No, I've only gained like 72 off of Soulfire
Oh, okay.
or Soulfire.
Card's great. Gaining that much life is like, oh, all right, well, the game's over.
It's like, what do you mean I need an Ajani, Ajani Ultimate, Mentor of Heroes Ultimate?
Nah,
I
just
don't
need
need
two
that.
cards, two target combo. Oh, the card's good, and also the Kalitas. Like you get the best cards in Jeskai Black. You're playing the best control cards in the game.
But Dig Through Time really shines in a very dedicated control deck.
Yeah, that deck.
And there aren't many dedicated control decks in Frontier currently that are worth running that don't get just trampled over.
It's what Esper, Jeskai Black, and there's like that one Grixis shell.
There's a
Okay,
Grixis shell, but the Grixis shell doesn't often want Dig Through Time
right.
because it always needs to respond to something.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have the ability to take a turn off. It's
Right.
more tap out style than it is draw go style.
Also, in
Like
my
Jeskai,
opinion, the Grixis deck is just worse than Jeskai Black.
well, yeah, why not splash white?
Well, yeah, there's no reason. Like, the extra color is not free, but it's basically free. It's
No,
very low cost.
you just run the duel and you run the fetch land that gets the duel.
Yeah, it's very low cost. It's not free by any circumstance. It makes your man a little bit more awkward, but it's
Now you have Spire of Industry, you're fine.
in that deck.
No, but I'm saying
Oh, okay.
in Grixis, you
Oh,
can run Spire in Grixis
okay.
because you can run things like Implement, you can run things like
Right.
Puzzle Knot, etc. You can run things like Tezzeret because that actually makes sense.
So I think closing up this podcast, let's ask one more question, and that question is: see, Healy combo is huge in standard right now. We see things that are huge in standard that get banned, such as Maverickle. I always butcher that.
Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel. That's how you say it. I always butcher that. You see that like those type of decks carry over to Frontier. Do you think you'll see Copycat carry over to Frontier?
In terms of deck,
Yeah.
no.
Okay. Yes. Why?
There are way too many things that just outright beat it.
Like.
Tarka Red, Brawler. Um, there's Green Black aggro. There's Elves. There's Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
There's the non Emrakul-less Marvel. There's Ugin.
Okay.
There's way more counter spells that are open to us.
There's also a
Uh,
lot more shocks, a lot more wild slashes,
yep, there's
lightning
Fire
strikes,
Impulse, Exquisite Firecraft, which can't be countered.
lightning strikes. Like there's so many ways
Uh,
to disrupt the combo.
there's also Despise, Duress, there's Harsh Scrutiny still, there's
Do you think there
Collective.
could be a deck though?
It could be tested. It warrants being tested
Okay.
over anything else. I don't think it's that good in Frontier.
Okay.
I think I think the main power that the Sahili combo has in standard, and this actually just goes right back to the results overall, is there isn't really a deck that's too fast for it. It's always in the
Oh
game at
yes,
some
yes,
point.
yes.
In Frontier, there are decks that will just
Right.
outright kill it.
Well, I was trying to play that white red humans deck. It's just not fast. It wins on like turn 7. It doesn't win on turn 4, turn 5. Like it wins on turn 7 because it's so much setup time. Like you can't allow that to a control deck that wants the combo and set up.
I mean, you're talking about a brawler deck that goldfishes at turn 2 at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I said it, turn 2.
Most of the time, turn 3.
No, it's basically turn 2, but
Yeah.
usually it's turn 3 to turn 4 unopposed.
Yep. So yeah, I think there's definitely some things that need to be done or discussed with Frontier. I think that it's still really enjoyable, however, not competitive yet. Still, it's frustrating because I would love for it to be competitive so that I could play it with it more. 'Cause that's the one thing that's stopping me right now. If it's not as competitive, so I can't like play with it as much as I would like to.
Sorry, I'm dying over here.
It's okay. I see you dying.
Children.
Yes.
Children germs. So
Yes.
bad.
I also got the children germs. So basically, I don't know. We'll revisit this in the next few weeks. But right now I'm kind of only playing Frontier once a week, and I'm enjoying that once a week. But it's not like I'm sitting around being like, oh, let me brew up this sweet Frontier deck. It's just like, I'll wait till Wednesday.
I still like my green chess guy,
That deck is sweet. I,
Teamer Kai.
I think it's cool making things up, but it's just like, I'll wait till Wednesday. It's not like, oh, I can't wait to play this deck this weekend. Let's play some Frontier. That's what it was for a little while, and I think it's changed because Standard's more appealing. Frontier, Modern shaken up.
Is Standard more appealing?
It is. It is.
Is it only appealing more because it's a new set?
No, I actually found a deck I like, so
And which deck is that?
it's green black.
The one that lost to Blue Green Marvel Crush?
Yes, but then I 5 out of the league, so it's all right.
Yeah, because you didn't play Blue Green Marvel Crush.
You're right, and I only played Saheeli once in that league, so haha.
Variance.
Yes, very.
We got there.
Because that deck beats every other deck except that deck. Yeah. But anyway,
That Blue Green Crush deck is so fun, though.
you're right.
So
Fun
fun.
is the word. Fun is the word.
How do you not like casting out Glimmer and then just Crush of Tentacling everything
I
and leaving an
don't-
8/8 on the board?
I, I don't find that enjoyable. I played a Crush deck once. Never found it enjoyable. So
See, that's like my play style. It's like combo E, control E, at least for Standard. Modern, it was always, let's just kill you as quickly as possible. I gotta go do something else.
all right, so that's gonna wrap it up for this week. Thank you everyone for joining. We'll be back next week with unknown topic, and
With unknown topic.
you can find
We'll
us at
figure something out. We promise.
yeah, you can find us at teamenergybot.com. Would you like to talk about that for a little for a hot second?
TeamNFGbot.com will be officially launching on March 24th. I am actually going to be taking some time off from streaming to help the launch of that. So definitely stay tuned. You can look up their website at teamnfgbot.com, and you can follow us on Twitter at teamnfgbot.
And I will I'm going to start going to events under teamenergybot.com. The first event that I will be going to under them is Pittsburgh, GP Pittsburgh. So,
Go see Jamie.
yes, go see Jamie, go see Jamal, go see the crew, go
Not
see
see me.
Stunlock. Not you.
Nope.
Sorry.
Next year. I'll be at GP Pits next year.
Next year. So
Yep. It's
with
only
that,
like
guys,
375 days away.
check out teamenergybot.com. Check out Rogues Gallery, MTG Rogues. They are great people. Great people. And you can also check us out at Swiss Pure Games for your Frontier needs and other needs as well. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you next time.